Okay, let me continue back to where we were talking about that part of the world, because as you all know, there was a big incident in Afghanistan last week where UN workers were killed because Reverend Yosemite Sam here in America burned a Koran, which no one thinks is a good idea. But, you know, I'm very disturbed at the way Western people, like General Petraeus, who I'm an admirer of, I think he's a great general. He didn't start those wars. He's just trying to finish them, and he does more before 9 a.m. than I do all year. But his statement, we condemn in particular the action of an individual who recently burned the Holy Koran. We hope the Afghan people understand that this is just the action of the small number of individuals. Burning the holy book was hateful. It was intolerant. It was extremely disrespectful. We condemn it. All this talk about the people who burned the Koran, and nothing about the people who reacted in such a stupid way. We are always blaming the victim and not holding them, not most Muslims, but at least a large part of the Muslim culture that doesn't condemn their people.
There's one other person, Karzai. This was done, and there was radio silence for weeks. Karzai, because he wanted to stir up the Afghan people, gave a speech on the Thursday before inciting this, and then the imams the next day sent people out into the street. Karzai, our friend supposedly, who Americans are dying for him, he's the one who caused all this. That is the corruption in my mind.
I mean, Petraeus says what he has to say to try and protect more American troops, right? His interest is to make sure that there are not more incidents like the one against the UN compound. So he's going to say what he thinks will try and calm the temperature. He's not going to go out there and condemn all Muslims for not speaking out against their fellow Muslims, because that he doesn't think is going to help him. But I think there's a kind of real problem here. This is not just a nice academic idea. Wouldn't it be nice if there were more moderate Muslim voices? If there are not more moderate Muslim voices, this could affect our national security. You look at a country like Pakistan, where moderation has been literally killed. The voices of moderation have been literally killed in the last 3 months. That's a real problem for the United States. We do not want more countries with nuclear weapons ending up like places like Pakistan because moderate Muslims do not speak out against extremism. And that's what's happened in this case.
Listen to Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham's quote. I wish we could find a way to hold people accountable. Free speech is a great idea, but we're in a war. I get really nervous when people say free speech is great, but. Especially when the war is endless.
Right.
You know, it's appalling, and you sort of see from Graham and McCain this notion that essentially this war that has failed, and we don't even know what it's for at this point, must actually curtail all our civil liberties at home, and especially the right to do something offensive and disgusting and blasphemous. It comes down to blasphemy, Bill. That's what it comes down to.
Well,
and this country, thank God,
what it comes down to is that there is one religion in the world that kills you when you disagree with them. And they say, look, we are a religion of peace, and if you disagree, we'll fucking cut your head off.
Yeah.
And nobody calls them on it, or very few people call them on that. You know, it's like if dad is a violent drunk and beats his kids, you don't blame the kid because he set dad off. You blame dad because he's a violent drunk.
It was kind of striking.
So why is Islam the one religion about which so many in America and the West censor themselves when it comes to talking about or making fun of? Is it just fear?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because they're violent, because they threaten us, and they are threatening. They bring that desert stuff to our world. I said the same thing Friday night. You know, we don't threaten each other. We sue each other. That's the sign of civilized people. And they don't. You know, yes, we do have religious nuts in this country. There was a cleric in Iran who recently said that earthquakes were caused by slutty women. Well, Pat Robertson once said that abortions caused hurricanes, I think. But the difference is Pat Robertson doesn't have the power to cut your arms off. You know, I mean, people who want to gloss over the difference between Western culture and Islamic culture and forget about the fact that the Islamic culture is 600 years younger and that they are going through the equivalent of what the West went through with our Middle Ages, our Dark Ages, when religion had way too much power, and we had inquisitions and things like that, do so at their peril. You know, when they caught this guy... yeah, go ahead.
No, when you hear, you know, the off refrain from American Muslims, and the vast majority of American Muslims, you know, abhor this kind of stuff, you know, they will say, look, Islam is a religion of peace. Do you buy that?
Yeah, they blow you up. There's a PC over there. There's a PC over there. There's a PC over there. Is it a religion of peace? You know, I don't know. I have not read the Quran in its original. When you read the translation, there are many, many, many passages that are not peaceful at all, that are about killing the infidel and so forth. There are many passages like that in the Bible too. Not as many. And we don't take it seriously. That's the difference. We blow off our religions. If we took the Bible seriously, we'd look over our fence on Sunday morning, see our neighbor mowing his lawn and think, working on Sunday, I really should kill him. But we don't do that. But, you know, there are entire schools. You know this, Anderson. You're a globetrotter. You've been to madrasas in Pakistan and so forth. Entire schools where the kids read just one book. They're memorizing the Quran. That's all they do. You know, that's not what we do in this country.
The other incident on your set Friday night that caused a little buzz out there on the internet was what you said about Islam and a very popular name in Britain right now for little boys being born, specifically Mohammed. I'll play the clip and we'll discuss.
The most popular name in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, this was in the news this week, for babies this year was Mohammed. Am I a racist to feel I'm alarmed by that? Because I am. And it's not because of the race, it's because of the religion. I don't have to apologize, do I, for not wanting the Western world to be taken over by Islam in 300 years?
All right, you're always known for being politically incorrect, but go ahead and explain what you mean, because I assume some Muslims out there weren't necessarily happy with what you said.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it was said there in the clip. I don't feel like I have to apologize for being a proud Westerner. And when I say a Westerner, I mean someone who believes in the values that Western people believe in that a lot of the Muslim world does not, like separation of church and state, like, you know, equality of the sexes, like respect for minorities, free elections, free speech, freedom to gather. These things are not just different from cultures that don't have them. Theocracy is not just different from rule of law. It's better. You know, I'm not saying every Muslim society subscribes to all of these, but a lot more than Western democracies do. And I would like to keep those values here. And if Muslim people are in these societies having babies at a rate like, you know, I don't know, 6 or 8 times what the other people are having, you know, you can project ahead and say in 200 or 300 years, you know, if Muhammad is the most popular name now, I don't want England to lose those values that, of course, became our values here in America.
All right, Bill Maher, you think if you worked for NPR, you would have been fired for saying that?
Probably, which is why I'm very glad I'm here at the sister network.
You're the sister network of CNN, HBO. Appreciate it very much. Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher airs Friday nights. We'll see you back here in the Situation Room. Appreciate it.